Hello everyone, my name is Romina Hajizadeh, my pronouns are she and her, and I'm wishing you a warm welcome back to the Tuum podcast today. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that I am recording this podcast on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam people. As we learn, live, and grow on the UBC Point Grey campus, it is crucial that we acknowledge and appreciate the history of this land, which has held sites for learning long before the establishment of this university. The Tuum podcast is run by our UBC Student Alumni Council, also known as the SAC. The SAC's mission is twofold, connecting students with alumni while also fostering campus pride. Today's episode is another addition to our Student Skills series, dedicated to the topic of resume building. More specifically, today's episode goes over building your resume from little to nothing, and how you can utilize club and volunteer experiences here at UBC to highlight soft and hard skills that can help you land your first paid internship. If you're coming to UBC with no prior work experiences, you're not alone. If I could use one word to describe my resume when I first came to university, it would probably have to be very meager. The reality is, the transition from high school to university really is as big of a deal as many people make it out to be. At least, it certainly was for me. I came from a high school that provided a very basic British Columbian curriculum, and also really didn't have too many clubs or activities running until around my grade 11 and 12 years. Needless to say, I had minimal experiences and a lack of knowledge of what I was really getting myself into with UBC. That being said, we really do all have to start somewhere. I believe the biggest hurdle we have to jump over is overcoming our internal fears, and gaining the courage to put ourselves out there when opportunities do arise. My first year during the COVID-19 pandemic was riddled with uncertainty, but pushing myself to participate in a variety of clubs and activities online allowed me to gain experiences that, surprisingly enough, landed me my first paid internship for the summer after my first year. Throughout this episode, I'm going to spend some time talking about my personal experiences in clubs and volunteer work that did allow me to actually highlight soft and hard skills that helped me land that job, while also helping you kind of navigate how to find these experiences, when to apply, and some considerations to keep in mind. But before we get there, it's a good idea to consider your passions, as well as your career and academic goals. University really is a great time for exploration, especially at a school as large as UBC. At times, it really feels as though the possibilities are truly endless for what you can get involved in here. From esports to intramurals to, oh my gosh, there's just so many different things. For me, in my first year, I knew that there was definitely a lot I wanted to explore. But first, I really wanted to figure out what the reality was like at UBC, if that kind of makes sense. Obviously, I'm not from campus. I didn't know exactly what was going on, what the needs of the community are. I really wanted to serve and do some volunteer work to support the community, and so that attracted me to some volunteer clubs, such as UBC Hope, now known as UBC Rise. And with them, I ended up joining as a high school correspondent, so I worked with high school students as they applied to UBC. On the academic side of things, I was also interested in learning more about what the Faculty of Arts could offer for me, and navigate kind of what I wanted to major in and what my classmates were doing. I was in the Arts 1 program, but I was also very interested in majoring in international relations at the time, so I wanted to meet other students that were in the same boat and kind of figure out what they were doing and navigate this together. And so as a result, I joined the Arts 1 Student Council and the UBC Arts Undergraduate Society First Year Committee. Once you've considered what you're looking for, you'll obviously have to find out where to engage with clubs and organizations that have positions that would allow you to gain experiences in your interest areas. There are two main periods during the school year that are really helpful for this. The first is Imagine Day, which is held on the first day of school in September. During the day, so many AMS clubs and UBC groups and initiatives put up booths along Main Mall, allowing you to explore and learn more about what they offer. The second is AMS Clubs Fairs, which usually occur once during the end of September and again in January. The Clubs Fair is usually a multiple-day event where students can explore different club booths around the nest and sign up for their email lists. While there are opportunities to learn more about clubs beyond these two major events, these are the biggest times to do so, and I would really recommend making time in your schedule to go to these events and participate, even if it's also online, because I do know since COVID, a lot of clubs will be doing things online for Imagine Day and for Clubs Fairs. This is a great way to get in contact with the clubs, learn more about the positions that they're hiring for at that time if they are, and learn about what events they put on and make some new friends, and also just get the vibes to see, is this a club or organization that I align with and that I want to be a part of? Exploring these clubs and groups to see where you can get involved is great, but you may be wondering what exact opportunities and positions are available. Each club has a different structure to it, but generally there are two main groups of positions within a club: executive positions and general member positions. Within larger clubs and constituencies, there's typically a more elaborate and specific hierarchy of positions. There are coordinators, then directors, associate vice presidents, and presidents. Each role is typically different. However, typically coordinators will have less of a commitment to the organization, less hours per week, less work to do. Directors have a bit more oversight over the coordinators, so they have a little bit more managerial work to do, if you will. And then, of course, the same is true for AVPs, VPs, and presidents. They're overseeing more people, so they typically have a little bit more on their plate than positions below them. Now that you know a bit more about the main opportunities for connecting with clubs, as well as the general structures for many of them, we can turn to kind of discussing actually applying to these positions on campus. We'll start with talking about the time of year that you actually need to apply, because this is very important and this information isn't always super accessible. I remember when I was getting involved, I didn't know exactly when I should be applying. I ended up joining UBC Hope really early. I joined them in May while I was actually still in high school, because I found out about the position on Facebook within a UBC 24 group, which I will talk about later on in the podcast and how important those groups are. Whereas with the AUS, I actually ended up joining them in their first year committee in October, which was quite late, and I was very lucky to join because the position that I ended up applying for and filling was actually vacant. So that was the only reason I got to join in October. They were actually hiring a little bit earlier for that role. Each club has a different hiring period depending on how large they are or whether or not they are active over the summer. General member positions for clubs, though, are typically hired in September. Because these general member positions are usually hired by directors, to be hired as a director, you should look out on a club's social media around March and leading up to the summer. In September, there's also typically fall by-elections for constituencies and departmental student associations on campus. Positions always available in these elections include year representative positions and include other vacant positions which vary. There are also the spring elections, which are actually the general elections, and this is when all of the executives are elected into a constituency or a departmental club. Going back to the summer, in July and August, volunteer positions for AMS services open up, where experiences range from peer support to safe walk and more. A lot more information is available on the AMS website if you're interested in these roles. In early August, like literally August 1st, work-learn positions for the upcoming winter session begin hiring. If you're keen on getting a work-learn position, my suggestion is to apply super early. These positions can be quite competitive depending on what position you are applying for. There's a huge range of experiences to be had, but it's very valuable to apply. So definitely make sure you're on that portal August 1st. And if you want a summer work-learn, again, those are typically posted around March, the same time as the general elections for constituencies and departmental clubs. Now, what are some considerations you should have when you are applying to these positions? First and foremost, I want to remind you that it's all going to be okay. Don't stress. If you don't have too much experience applying to these things, just like I didn't have when I was in my first year, don't worry. It's all going to be okay. And also, the people that are hiring for these positions, they're other students, and they understand that everyone does have to start somewhere, and they were probably in the same exact boat as you when they were applying. So don't worry, don't stress, it's all going to be okay. Again, if I was able to get involved in clubs in my first year and then land a job at the end of my first year, you definitely will be able to. One of the strategies that really helped me when I was applying was time management. I really took some time to learn how to write a resume in a way that I liked. Again, there is no strictly right way to write a resume, but I found a format that I liked, which was Harvard Business School, I think, and so I took some time to reformat my resume. And also create a draft cover letter if the position needed it, that I could just change the name of like certain attributes or like the job title so that I had a cover letter ready to submit when I was applying to these positions. This is very helpful if you're applying to work learns, because with work learns, again, time is of the essence, so you want to apply really quickly. Again, also helpful for clubs so that you don't have to stress. Usually clubs also have different aspects of the application. I know when I applied to the AUS, there were different prompts that asked me for like 150 to 200 words responding to something like, I don't know, something very generic, like why do you want to be involved in the arts community? What is your previous experience with event planning or something like this? And again, having the cover letter and the resume ready to go really allows you to focus more on those questions, which in my opinion, for constituencies and clubs, tend to sometimes matter more. They're really looking for your personality, who are you, do you align with the organization, and what can you offer? Also take into account your current responsibilities and see really how much can you handle. Don't overload yourself. Take into account your course load, your jobs if you have some right now, life responsibilities, time needed for socializing. These are all things that are very important to consider when you are applying and accepting or declining offers to join different clubs. Don't overload yourself. Trust me, and listen to me, because I am someone who definitely overloads myself. It's really important to have some time for self-care, and for just resting your mind, because again, we're all students and it's really hard. We're under a lot of pressure and there's a lot going on. So definitely make sure you have time in the week to relax. And again, remember, quality over quantity with this stuff. If you want to gain soft and hard skills that will allow you to get a great job after those club experiences, it's really good to be able to dedicate a lot of time to those clubs so that you can actually gain a lot of experience in the club, gain those skills, and gain references that can help you a lot. Now, how do you actually apply to clubs or volunteer roles? As in, where do you apply? Typically, these are through a form online, and you can find the forms usually on an organization or club's website or their social media profiles. This is the best way, in my opinion, to keep up with clubs. Follow them on Instagram or Facebook, wherever they're most active, maybe even Discord, I don't know. And then there, they'll usually update with a Google form or a Qualtrics form if they're hiring. Sometimes it's also through a more formal job form. I believe AMS Services would use the AMS Jobs portal, which is on the AMS website. Another great way to hear about these opportunities is, again, through UBC Year group chats on Facebook. I cannot recommend these enough. When I was in my first year, my UBC 24 group chat was where I heard about all these opportunities. This might have been a unique circumstance for me because, again, my first year was online during the COVID-19 pandemic, but I still think that the principle holds true that a lot of people do utilize these group chats to post about positions that are open and opportunities that are available because they know that they can reach a lot of students at once. So it's really good to check those and see what is being posted, what positions are available. Who knows, you might end up finding something that is really interesting, and that might change your life. Sometimes you can also contact current executives if you want to learn more about positions. I would really recommend this. Again, remember that they're students just like you and they really want to help. They were in your position not long ago, and so they probably have a lot of really good advice. And they can also guide you when it comes to the hiring process. So that is pretty much all from me today. This episode, again, really talked about how do you get out there when you don't have any prior experiences? How do you join clubs and organizations on campus in order to gain great experiences that can help you land paid jobs? I really, really, really recommend joining clubs if you can on campus. They are really conducive to helping you find a community while you're here at UBC, and they can honestly change your life. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope that you gained something from this episode and that it was hopefully a little bit helpful to helping you get out there and get involved on campus. Be sure to follow the SAC on all of our major social media platforms, including Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also our TikTok account, which is really, really fun. We have a lot of great content coming out on there, and also great opportunities for you to get involved in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!